Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Jeff Flynn, and if you're new here, I am a primarily mobile home park investor who's actually actively getting into other types of assets as well. But on this channel, I want to go over all things real estate and the things I find on the front end and the back end that make it interesting. Now, today I want to go over something that's totally new to the channel, which is vibe coding. Now, there's a lot of hype about this, but in this video, I'm going to go into a somewhat deep dive about how I'm using it and some actual applications for it. Now, for the last probably 3 years now, I've been trying to find ways to incorporate AI into my business. And surprisingly, what I have found the most effective by far is not specific things that AI can do in Claude or ChatGPT or something like that, but using AI to make software for your business. Because the reality is AI is software. And if you give it these specific tasks or agents or all these things, it's not really consistent. But when you build your own program, it is remarkably consistent. So what I'm going to show you guys today is this software that I've built completely from scratch with no software developer experience at all, no outside help from a software engineer. I basically use this website called Replit, which I'll show you how I use it here at the end of this. But everything that you're going to see here, I built myself with no coding experience whatsoever. And the part that inspired me to create this particular software was that I have, at this point, 13 mobile home parks across 3 states, and I don't have an on-site manager at any one of them. Now, what you'll see is that I basically have one tenant at each park who goes around and takes pictures, and that helps my management team in the back end, who manages everything remotely, see how the properties look on a weekly basis and enforce things like mowing lawns, people skirting their houses, things like that. And it even tracks our on-site photos when we have to go and post notices on people's doors. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in here. But again, I want to show you this and expect to see a lot more videos like this on my YouTube because I think this stuff is absolutely mind-boggling. So now that I'm logged in, you can kind of see the dashboard that's built here. So you can already tell it's given a few notices of things that we need to do. Like today's the 7th of the month, and it knows that we need to go ahead and post some notices on people's doors if they're behind on rent. But what you can see here is all the properties here and who is the person who's set to inspect them. But basically what this software does is crazy to me. So we can go through, and this is basically the tenants get a reference photo here on the right of what they need to take a picture of. And every week they take a photo and it gives us a current photo. And it's crazy the kind of detail we can put into this. Like we started noticing some of the people were just sending the same photo, literally the exact same photo week after week. And I realized, okay, they're just scamming us. So then we built into the software that it takes the geocoding of or whatever it's called, that basically the metadata, I guess you'd say, for the software, for the photo, and it knows when the photo is taken. So it makes sure that the on-site manager or the on-site person that we're using is not sending us a photo week after week after week. They're actually doing the inspection. So it's pretty cool what it can do. And you can see here, basically we just use it to say, hey, how's everything looking? And you can see here, the first couple, there weren't really any infractions. And then here, you can start to see some notes on things that they've noticed. Like, hey, the grass needs mowing, the trash is in the yard. Now, the person who's doing the inspection is marking these boxes. They're basically going through and checking it. Now, what we get as a result of that is basically this. We see an inspection report. Now, each one of these things is an infraction. So this is the really, really cool part. We can look at the infractions these people were given. So in this case, it says other. What we're going to say here is that they basically need to not skirt the home, but they need to paint this home because it's starting to look rough. All right, so if we go down here, see if we can find paint the home. House needs paint, all right? So then I can either swipe left like it's Tinder or something to just ignore this infraction, or I can swipe right. And then it brings up options. Are we going to text this person or call them, or are we going to send an email? In this case, we're going to send a text. Now, this text will literally text our tenants this photo so they see, hey, we saw the photo. Don't tell us this doesn't need to happen. And you can see what it basically drafted. Now, this is what is so remarkable. So it's saying, hey, here's the infraction that was found. Basically, we're telling them that they need to paint their house, but you can see 32 days remaining to fix. The reason it knows 32 days is because we give tenants 90 days to paint their house. And in this case, it knows we've given them this infraction before. So it's literally tracking Hey, here's when you told them this needs to be done by. They still haven't done it, so here's the infraction. Now, here's what's really cool. It gives them this link at the bottom, and this link, if the tenant clicks on it when they are using their phone or they get this from an email, this pulls up a link for the tenant to basically upload a photo proving that they fixed it. So the follow-up process is remarkable because what happens is, hey, we sent you the photo. This is what you got to fix. Here's how much time you have left to fix it. Here's what happens if you don't fix it. And $25 is pretty weak, but I'm not trying to be a Scrooge. I'm just trying to make sure people take a good care of their homes. And at the end, it's like, hey, provide this link. If you don't provide this link, we won't know that you fix it. So we're going to assume that it wasn't fixed and we're going to apply the fine. So that's how it works. We send it and that tenant has been notified. So again, pretty cool that this works the way we talked about. Now you can see, here's another one we got. What's the issue? There's some sort of other issue. And if I want to ignore this one, I would just simply swipe left and say it's not a big deal. Now this one, it says grass needs mowing, so we'll enforce it. And you can see this doesn't take me long at all to go through and enforce an entire community. And we pay each one of these people on site about $50 a week to go do this. So it's not hard at all. It's pretty remarkable what this can do. Now, here's the part that really blows my mind. It's one thing for me and my team to know how to use this, but it's another when a tenant figures it out and does it properly. So let me show you these past approvals. Here's a case where we basically said the person on site took a picture and said, hey, this person needs to pressure wash their home. We agreed. We'd enforce that. So it texted this tenant a picture of their home and said, hey, you need to pressure wash it by this date. And looks what happened. They literally did it. So we sent them this picture and they sent a note saying we pressure washed it. So this right here is the original inspection photo, and this is their resolution photo, basically proving that they did it. So now we have a record that we told them to do it and they did it. Pretty cool stuff. And what's really nice about all this is that for us on the back end, it's pretty obvious. Now, what I have noticed that's more powerful than anything is that our tenants realize we have a system now. So it used to be I drove around the parks, I kind of take notes, or the managers or somebody would do it. And eventually we realized like the tenants don't think we're actually going to follow up because it's really hard for us to keep track of all this. Now it's easy. The software thinks for us and keeps track of everybody, and it tells us when they've gone past their notice. And it even texts them a reminder saying, hey, this is your last day to do it. Make sure you get it done, yada, yada. And it has shown to be very effective in getting people to actually do things and actually paint their houses and skirt their homes. It's pretty cool. Okay, now here's what's really gonna blow your mind. So when I started to do these inspections, I realized like, hey, this is great. I can get an idea of what the parks look like, and we can check that on a weekly basis in a uniform fashion. That's pretty cool. I wonder if we could do that with our infrastructure. I wonder if we could take pictures of our electrical systems, do an audit and have AI look at each one of those images that we took and figure out which lots need to be budgeted to replace the electrical system. That way we're not just waiting until, somebody calls us that their power's out and we got to put them in a hotel for a couple nights. We got to pay to install the electrical box and it's an emergency price, so it's expensive. Can we just look at our whole infrastructure, figure out which problem or which electrical boxes are going to need to be replaced first and start budgeting for it and doing it ahead of time? So I've never really had an organized business enough to do that, but the software helped me do that. So what you see here, this is an electrical inspection that I did. Again, I'm not a software engineer. I'm also not an electrician, but I went around and basically what I made this software do is I said, okay, I'm going to take 4 pictures of each electrical box. So I take a picture of the pole, I take a picture of the box from the outside, take a picture of the box from the inside, and then take a picture of the top of the box to look for things like leakage or thing like that, or rust in this case. That's a big problem. So what it does, I basically take it in these 4 formats, and you can't see it now, but there's a reference photo just for a typical electrical box, not every electrical box in this park, but just this is what you need to take: the pole picture, the box picture, yada yada. Now I went around this park and did this. Took me about 45 minutes to walk the park and do all this. Didn't cost me as the owner anything. And this is the results I got. I basically got a summarized list for each electrical system on what likely needs to happen. And it was cool while I'm there taking the pictures AI is analyzing every one of these images and saying, hey, okay, here's a problem we see. We see corrosion. We see these. We see that. Now, it's not coming up with a price for anything, but what I get when this is all done is a report of the entire electrical system. And I can take that and say, which of these boxes is worse, is the worst. And let's plan on fixing that one, or maybe two or three of them this year. And then next year, we're going to fix one or two of them that year. Then we're going to fix the next one, so that we're tackling the biggest problems first. It also helps us know, like, hey, we want to make sure that the tenants have locks on these things so some kid can't come around and just open it and hurt themselves. So there's things like that that this allows us to do. And again, this is not some like basic thing in Claude, and I'll show you right after this how I actually built this system. Now, this is the system I use to actually make this software, and I promise you, it is a million times easier than it looks. Now, I've already built this software and I have spent months tweaking it and refining it. So this is not something like you spit, one prompt and it generates what you see here. You'll get a start, but it's going to take months and months of refinement. And what I've found is when I have a problem in my business, I come in here to Replit and I just don't leave until whatever problem I have is solved with our software somehow. So I'll give you, this is basically what happens here on the right. You can see all of this is what the AI agent here is actually thinking and doing for us. So you can see earlier, had like everything you see right here, this is my conversation with it. Like, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that. And it goes ahead and does it. So I'll show you, and I'll actually build a feature now. So one of the things I've realized is, hey, the software does a good job, but if somebody on the team doesn't do what they're supposed to, we don't really have a good way to enforce that. How can we track KPIs, right? So I'll give you an example here. Let me go and I can pull up my tab and I can go to KPIs. So this is basically what the dashboard looks like. Or, let's look at something else. Let's look at special inspections. So right now we have an electrical inspection. Okay, that's pretty good. Now I could tell it, I want to build a new type of special inspection called a road inspection. And on this inspection, what will happen is somebody takes a drive-through video of the road, and then they also see the map for the property for the on-site person, and then they can click certain points on the map where they notice issues like potholes or things like that. And when they click a point, they should be able to upload a picture for that specific point. In fact, you know what? Take out the video aspect. We don't need that, and that might be too much data. I just want it to be something that we can send to the on-site person, and they'll get the map of the park that we have in our system and click the points where there's issues and upload images for those points. Now you can see, now that I've done that, it's going to go, that's not like some simple thing, but that's literally what I do. I tell it, hey, this is what I want to do. And that's a real feature that I'll use. Basically tell these same people who do our weekly inspections, hey, can you just go check the roads, use this feature right here. And what it's going to do, and we can go back to one of our properties and, this is the preview version, so I won't be able to use this, but I'll show you. If I go to my published version, what I should be able to do is go to a typical property. So we'll call it Oak Ridge, and we should be able to see the map for this property. So what this will do, what the feature I just described, once it's built, it'll send the person the map for this property, and then they'll hopefully just be able to click certain sections and say, hey, take a picture here, take a picture here, if there's an issue with the road. And then that tells us on our end, okay, we do have potholes, or no, they didn't find anything. And, the first step is I'll build this and maybe I'll test it so a tenant uses it, because it's not perfect, right? We have to find out the bugs. Maybe they can't upload images because it's not the right image type, things like that. This is not super clean all the times. It takes a lot of refinement. But once it works, then we'll just set it up to be automated. Maybe if it's an asphalt park, we'll do a quarterly inspection, or if it's gravel, we'll do a bi-weekly or weekly, because those often have potholes a lot sooner. And if we do that, we can kind of come up with some system beyond that. So you can kind of see my train of thought here. It's really not as complicated as you might think. Now, what you'll see here, this is the agent going and doing all this. Now, the agent knows all of our code. So some of you might have heard of Claude Code, and obviously there's a lot of hype about that. Replit runs using Claude, but you don't have to worry about, how do you set up databases? How do you set up this? Now you can, if you've used Claude, you can go in there and you can do something like, make some app that tracks things. But what you'll find is when you actually start using those things, where does the data get saved? How do you share it with other people? That kind of stuff adds complexity that is really difficult to do, but Replit handles all of that. So you can see here, this on the left, you can actually see that my team is actually doing vibe coding themselves. So none of us have coding experience, but you can see where they're drafting features that they need within the software to get what they want. And you'll basically see here, this is what it's doing. It researches, it kind of understands your idea. It looks at the code, it knows where you're trying to talk about it. And when it's all said and done, it should have a feature built that should be able to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video here so I can let it run. But when it's done, we'll see how it came out. All right, so the agent is done. We can see here exactly how long it worked. It was 8 minutes. And you can see that charged me $1.78. So this is not free. It's very powerful, but it can get expensive quick. In fact, I had one prompt that ran for hours, like overnight, and it charged me $87. So be careful before you start using this. But what you can see here is it's basically telling me everything that it did. It went ahead, and what's cool is like you don't have to be very specific because it knows the software. In fact, it knows it so well at a certain point, you can kind of just ask it, hey, what else can we do to improve this feature? And it'll just provide suggestions. That's how I've learned a lot about how to make this software good, because it knows what it could do to make it better when I don't. But we'll just see here. This is the first time I'm looking at this. So literally it just spit this out, took 8 minutes. And let me see what it did. So I can see, yeah, on our special inspections, we see road inspections. So that's there. And we can see, okay, we don't see anything. Let's create a road inspection. We'll do, oh, looks like our property's not included. Let's try to create that. Okay, so you can tell that we don't have a way to select properties. Now, what that means is we would just tell it, hey, we can't select a specific property. So I'd go in here and basically say, the map feature looks good, but for property, the dropdown doesn't include any of my properties. So can you please solve that? That's what fixing bugs looks like. You just tell it what's wrong with it, and it'll look into it. But when this is all done, hopefully we'll have a completed map feature. So I'll let it go and solve this bug, and then we'll come back after that and see if it fixed it. Okay, so I looked into the issue a little bit, and the problem was that on the preview version, and when you start making this software, you'll realize you have a preview version within Replit, and then once you publish it, you have the published version. The preview version was having issues with the database, so I just went ahead and republished it, and now I'm going to try it based off the one prompt that we gave it. So I'll pick the property I want to do, and we'll just call it quarterly road inspection, and Jeff Flynn will do this. Oh. And then I'll do my own email. So it looks like I didn't ask it to do that, but it seems like it took it upon itself to just make an email link. Okay, so here's the submission link. Let's see what this looks like. Now, if we go here and we go to this, okay. Well, it's big. I guess I like that. I guess it'd be maybe easier to see on a phone. I don't really know. But let's see. If I'm doing this inspection, what is this? Oh, okay, here we go. There's a pothole right here. We probably need to bring in some gravel. Okay. Let's say, I'll say that's where the issue is. I can't really see anything else, but we'll just submit that. Okay, so we got one issue flagged, and we'll say right here, we'll say, here's an issue, drainage issue. Seems like the rain keeps washing this out. Okay, so I didn't give it all the specifics, but it came up with a lot of it. Okay, so how do I complete? Maybe that's how. Okay, so now it's completed. So if I went back to it, I'd probably see it as a completed inspection if I refresh. Let's see. No, not yet. So then that would be an issue where it's like, okay, I've noticed it's completed, but I didn't get any sort of notification that it was completed, right? Maybe we'll try a special inspection. And that's some of the stuff that I mean, like you think it'll do it the way you want to. Okay, here we go. we got one, we can see it here. So this is something where it's like, I thought it would be in the completed inspections and it wasn't. So I would go into Replit and I would basically say, when a road inspection gets completed, you put it on the road inspection section, which is okay, but I also want it added to the completed inspections list. All right, so there we go. And then when I go back here, we should be able to review it. So on our end, look at this. Okay, we can see, now I can already tell the dots weren't exactly where they were when we did it, so that's something we'll have to fix. And we didn't get pictures, but we got a pretty good start. So here what we would do is we would tell it, to fix the issue so that the site, we would just basically describe in plain English what issues we noticed. And like I said, I'll go over this for about, 30 minutes, maybe an hour while I'm doing other stuff. I just kind of give it a prompt, let it run for a few minutes and fix it. When it's all done, I should be able to get an update on how all of my park's roads are looking once the feature's built. So that's what's really, really cool about this. You build something once, you test it, and once it works flawlessly, then you have a solution in your business that can work across all of them. So it's really powerful. Now, the whole point of this video is to basically show you how easy this stuff is getting and how complex things at a business can slowly become easier and easier and more automated. Now, what do I see as the main takeaway from this? One, I see real estate becoming more passive because a lot of the things that used to take work and time to systemize and do all that can be more and more automated, and not just simple things like, text tenants that the rent is due. It's stuff like this where eventually you could see the direction of this software. It'll eventually get to the point where AI figures out if the on-site inspector provided the right information, and we won't even have to swipe right. It'll just be doing that for us. But what I see personally as the opportunity here is assets that are typically more operation heavy, like storage, RV parks, things like that, where people would typically pay a higher cap rate, basically a lower price for a property like that. I see opportunity in that. And that's why I'm pivoting away from just doing mobile home parks, because mobile home parks honestly are simple. There's not a lot to systemize to begin with. But if those assets, if they can be systemized now, I think there's a good opportunity in the market now to get properties like that will eventually not be as much work as they are now, because they are going to have more opportunity for automation because they have more operations. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So stay tuned for other updates from the channel, because I'm not going to be just doing mobile home parks. In fact, there's other deals that I'm working on now that you'll probably hear about soon. But as always, I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. If you liked it and you want to see more content like this about how to vibe code and make software, let me know. It's totally new to the channel, but I think it's fascinating, and I'm planning to do a heck of a lot more of it.